Hello and welcome to Armonia College. My name is Alethea Thompson and I will be guiding you through this lecture. A Jedi seeks to maintain their integrity to the Jedi Code at all times. A Jedi should hold themselves to a high standard, knowing that what they do when no one is looking is just as important as what they do when people are looking. For the most part, this might sound like we're telling you should always feel like someone's watching you, but that doesn't really grasp the full value of integrity. Instead, it reminds us that the discipline we place on ourselves when we are outside the observation of others helps us to improve upon how we act in their presence. To give you an example, let's say that you're a recovering alcoholic. In public, you might be able to conceal that you slipped a shot of vodka the night before. But little by little, if you continue to have these guilty pleasures, the alcohol inside of you will fall back into its old habits, creating heartache for those around you. Having integrity when you are not around others acts very much the same way. If you can do something in private when no one is looking, it takes considerable effort to prevent yourself from doing it in public as time wears you down. In the words of John Camilleri, a Jedi must herself be impartial, cautious, merciful, and of pure morals. In practicing discernment, the motive must be to distill the truth, and through kindness liberate the essence that may be trapped in the icy clasp of fear, anger, or despair. Always aware of the grave responsibility, always conscious that the errors she may discern in others she may herself possess. This slide should be self-explanatory. We have to hold ourselves to a standard, but recognize that we are fallible ourselves. It is the blessing and curse of having free will. And if we recognize it in ourselves, we should also recognize it within others. Integrity, especially when it's peer pressure all around us, is incredibly difficult to maintain if you are beholden to an ideal of perfection or trying to fit into the crowd. It's no secret that taking on the name Jedi already invites a certain amount of ridicule from the people around us, who believe we worship some puppet from a franchise thought up by Lucas. You've already taken on the role of being the outsider when you decide that this is the lifestyle for you. Therefore, you owe it to yourself to embody the philosophy fully. As Spark Fallon put it, as Jedi, we find ourselves caught where acting as Jedi brings us scorn, where doing the right thing is not popular, where we don't fit in because we believe differently from our friends and our relatives. Now, this line is not about the name Jedi, but the act of being one. Sometimes we're put into situations where the choices are hard to make. As I mentioned in the last slide, being amongst peers can be difficult when you have to make a decision. When I served in Iraq, there was a situation where I knew a great deal about the religious observances of the detainees that we were watching after. I won't get into the details specifically, but suffice to say that I learned my friends, my family, because honestly, that's what we are in the military. They were becoming a bit lazy in their duty to fulfill their role to our Islamic detainees. To most, the laziness was innocent, but to me, I was faced with the decision to either stand up for what was right or to ensure that my family was not causing religious harm to our detainees. Our detainees never knew what I did, but after trying to argue it at the lowest level, I went up the chain to resolve the problem. Being the only person that cared, a number of the people on the shift that I, quote unquote, ratted out, really had a dislike for me. It hurt, but later on they understood and were appreciative that the incident wasn't bigger than what it could have been. Without integrity, there is no reason to trust you. Going back to the alcoholic reference, if you relapse and cannot discipline yourself, then how can anyone expect you to be honest with them? How can they count on you to be available to help them? How can they believe that you will accomplish anything for them or a mission you have said you will try to? All of this makes you valueless to others. Would it be true that you could be there for others that aren't trustworthy? That you don't have something to offer even though you've relapsed? Maybe not. But the views of others are important. Because if they don't have respect for you, you can never do anything for them. With integrity, we can overcome these obstacles of having no trust, not being counted on, and not being valued. It also helps you relinquish undue drama. You can rest assured that you are doing everything you can to give the best opportunities of success to others, whether that is in moving forward for a mission or simply giving advice. And finally, others will believe in your ability to help them. Ultimately, it is important that we understand that how others view us is the product of our actions. While our experiences can influence how our actions go forward, our experiences only help people understand us. But only you can decide whether or not you want to maintain a position of influence to aid others, which honestly is at the heart of a Jedi's alignment to the Force. As with everything, however, you should seek to balance your actions with care. People are fallible and subject to a variety of variables. We cannot always judge a situation by the same situation as another. A Jedi practices empathy, always placing oneself in the shoes of the other. If one was in a strange and foreign land without shelter, food, water, or money, would she be tempted to take an apple from the marketplace? What if it was not her own mouth to feed, but that of a little one she was charged with the care of? John poses an interesting question here. Someone that steals a piece of jewelry from Claire's is not even on the same level as a mother taking a simple piece of food. Although both are taking from someone, it might be in a Jedi's best interest to remedy a situation that they witness, like this, by paying for the stolen food rather than become party to hanging the person. And then, if time permits, stepping up to help that person get into a situation where they no longer have to steal. But in the case of jewelry, then it might actually be best to verbally reprimand the individual and teach a lesson on the value of someone else's time and energy that produced the $20 worth of cubic zirconia piece, or simply turning them into the local authorities. In all things, there must be a balance of compassion and action. From John Camilleri, sentiments are general, temporary, and involuntary sensations that do not rise to the character of virtue. They are like summer storms, flashing suddenly in the heart and then are gone as quickly as they arose. This slide speaks to the value of recognizing that integrity requires thought and consideration. Sometimes it does not take long to make a decision, and other times it is of great importance that we slow down and analyze the situation before us. Every action we make, whether it is visible to others or it is only known to ourselves, creates ripples outward into our spheres of influence. It is important that we understand the interaction between our ability to be disciplined in what we do when no one is looking and when we are interacting with others.